Hello, welcome to this new show of the Alex Show TV. It's episode 361 from October the 4th of the year 2024. Today's a Friday. And today, as I shared on Monday, I was going to do a spin-off show on my trip to Sedona to speak specifically about the experience with Darry Lanka, also known as Bashar, explaining that Darry Lanka is the vessel, is the channeler, and Bashar is a nickname for the extraterrestrial being that the gentleman Darry Lanka channels. I had the chance to see Daryl and Bashar live for 2 days. As I explained the dynamics, it was a Saturday and a Sunday. The dynamics were very similar the 2 days. I didn't really felt a difference. It was basically Daryl will prepare himself and channel Bashar. Bashar will speak for around 45 minutes, and then there will be a question and answer section of members of the public that were pre-selected in a raffle. You had to elect to be part of the raffle. I did elect to be part of the raffle. I was not selected. I was really looking forward to having the chance to ask Bashar a question. And my question was going to be related to the message of self-discovery and love, and how that's the answer for humanity. I still stand by that. Okay. Really, as I said, maybe my expectations were too high, but this is a commercial experience, and I want to clarify what I mean with that. It's not bad. It's just this is something that is very well prepared. Clearly, Bashar has a staff of people, and there is some preparation. Daryl. Sorry, I need to clarify. Daryl has a staff of people, and Darry Lanka has previous experience in the film industry. You could tell, basically. This is something very well prepared as a show, okay, as an entertainment, as an entertaining event, okay. If it was too serious, if it was more like a meditation out there in a mountain or something like that, something very serious, I think it wouldn't have the success it has, because this was a sold-out show. And I want to clarify, my wife and I were very lucky. We probably bought the last 2 tickets available. Let me tell you the story, because our friends had planned this for a few months, the trip to Sedona. We learned about the trip on August, like a month, probably 6 weeks before the trip, early August. And then we had to wait for a thing to develop as far as having the possibility to go. And that thing did develop, but it did develop around late August, almost the end of August. So it was very close to the trip. We, of course, were able to find plane tickets, hotels. That was not a problem. But the Bashar event was full. So I was checking every day, because I promised my wife especially. It's not that I didn't care, but it is what it is. I mean, if we were able to go, that's perfect. If not, we're still going to enjoy the trip. So I check one day and I go, and there's 2 tickets available. They're, of course, not together. We had to sit separated. That's not a problem. But talking to other people, especially on the UFO tour, that was a rarity, because I was checking it once a day. And apparently I learned some people were checking it multiple times a day, looking for availability. So it was lucky. It was probably those tickets were released a few minutes before I checked them. And it's not that we're special or anything like that, but it's just things working out for me to be able to experience this. The questions were quite intriguing. I think there, as I shared on Monday, there were some that were a little bit on the shallow side, a little bit on more me about my story, tell me stuff, with the opportunity to maybe go a little bit out there. There was also one gentleman I remember very well. He was still he wanted to fight aliens, bad aliens. Please tell me we're going to go and destroy the bad aliens, with the good aliens, something like that. And my question would be, how about if you're a bad alien? How about if I'm a bad alien? What is this notion of bad and good? Okay, it's something, we live in this duality, we live in this polarity. And we, usually when we talk about bad, we are siding with the good. It's very rare we say, well, how about I'm also on the bad side. So that for me, I think was handled very well, that the gentleman wanted actually to hear that we were going to continue fighting now aliens. I mean, we do all the fighting here on planet Earth with the wars and all that. So apparently he wanted to hear that we were still going to go on interstellar wars, something like that. As I shared many times about violence is never the answer, not here on Earth, not anywhere. I do believe that species like the Greys, like the Anunnakis, like the Pleiadians, like the Syrians, many, even the Arcturians, that they're very mellow in their ways, they have transcended violence. They have understood that violence and fighting each other when we're the same thing, we're all part of the creation. It's like brothers and sisters fighting, killing each other. It doesn't make any sense. It's like, again, brothers and sisters is a metaphor because we're actually the same thing. So it's actually like you fighting your arm, your leg, your toes, your ears, your eyes. It doesn't make any sense. Just think about it. It's the same thing when you try to fight a fellow member of the oneness of the creation. We're all just fractalization, little pieces. It's like drops of water of the sea. We're all part of the sea. It's like water fighting each other. Drops of water fighting each other out there in the sea. No, they work in unison and they unite. Okay, that's what we are going to figure out someday. So for me, that was the question that was most unfortunate, the one that apparently some people still have the fight in them. They really want to fight. They're really polarizing. And they always, when they do that, they side with the good ones and they think, oh, I'm the good, I'm going to destroy evil. Okay, like we're executioners of justice, that we're not out there in the universe. We have 3 videos to show you. I'm creating this hoping not to get in trouble with the video. I think we're fine because I've used videos from the channel before. Actually the Isabella Green series of 6 shows was based on one long episode from this podcast. So let's watch it together. I think you're gonna, if you don't know anything about Bashar, you're gonna learn something on this video. And as I shared, the message is good. The message is benevolent, and I'm gonna stick with that. The commerciality, the preparation, the making it a show, I can understand that. That's part of making it fun. That's part of kind of making it so people are attracted to it. So if that's what's necessary, so it's a sold out show, for me, it sounds perfect. All right, let's watch the first video together.
You explain to people who is Bashar as far as the message that he's trying to get?
The primary message, no matter how many other things he may talk about or connect to it, the primary message is how we create our reality, how we experience physical reality, how we can change our physical reality experiences to be more in alignment with what we prefer, because he's literally teaching us the physics of how we already manifest things in physical reality. And he provides literally a toolkit or a formula to follow that's very basic and very simple, but very effective and makes profound changes in our lives. And one of the most gratifying things I get out of doing the channeling is having people constantly come back to me and said, you know, I applied his formula, I applied his information as precisely as possible, and this profound synchronous change, you know, happened in my life, and I've never been happier. And I get that enough times from people that I know the information works. I know that it can be pragmatically and practically applied in our physical lives. So no one has to believe that Bashar is real. It might be another aspect of my own consciousness or personality, but I have to let it present itself the way that it does. And I mean, I have my own validations, like having seen the UFO and things like that, that tell me that he could be his own entity. He could be a real being somewhere, and that we're making a connection, you know, vibrationally on a different telepathic level. But really, the point I always make to people is it's not about whether you believe that Bashar is real. The information that he shares with us is valid and real. And you can actually test what he shares with us as formulas and messages and information in your life and actually get the result he's saying.
Okay. Yes, I wish I will add to that in other videos that I couldn't find. Now I've seen the clips. He shares the message of love. That love is the only energy in the universe. He shares the message that the importance of your self-discovery, discovering who you are, of discovering you're a spirit having a physical experience. And he actually goes, like in the video we just saw, on explaining that basically you are creating this experience. And for you to figure that out is quite important. Okay? Not to say this experience is not important or is nothing. It's like a dream. It's like you're a spirit having this experience. That's what I got. Really, if we are creating it or not, if it's a dream, if it's real, everything is real, okay? Even a dream is real. We sometimes go with the physicality, with whatever we can touch, smell, see, hear, taste, understand the brain, make sense. And no, that's not necessary. Okay, a thought is real. Okay, some may say no because I cannot create something out of it. Yes, you can. It's just that we don't go that way. Okay. Let's watch another video again from the same channel with Alex Ferrari, really excellent host, and I think he asked excellent question. Let's watch the next video, and I'll give you my thoughts.
So speaking of the reality, what does Bashar have to say about simulation theory and that we are all in a dream and this is Maya and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, well, he does say it is a simulation, but it's our simulation. It's not a simulation from outside. We're creating it because physical reality is a projection of consciousness. It's an illusion. Basically, he's saying spirit is our natural state. We're there right now. We've never left it. The idea that you leave spirit to go into physical reality, says, is a misunderstanding. You're focusing a part of your spiritual consciousness in a type of dream, in a type of simulation that we call physical reality. But the majority of you is still in spirit and still aware of the fact that you're in spirit. The way we represent that or relate to that portion of ourselves as physical beings, we refer to that as the higher mind, the non-physical part of ourselves that guides the physical mind, that guides us in physical reality. So it's kind of like we've sort of split ourselves, our soul, into a physical and non-physical component and use the non-physical one to guide the physical one. Because it's like the physical one is down in the valley of physical reality and the higher mind, the non-physical part, is standing on the mountaintop. So it has a broader view of what it is we're experiencing as physical beings and can basically see what our path is and guides us along the proper path. Whereas if we ignore that guidance, then we can't really see around the next mountain or, and we fall into holes because we don't know where we're stepping. So it's very important that we sort of form this relationship with our higher self, with our non-physical consciousness, so that we function as whole beings and can move forward in a whole way. Bashar kind of says, if we just only rely on the physical mind and we ignore the higher mind, then we're kind of functioning literally as half-wits because we're depriving ourselves of the guidance of a portion of ourselves that can see farther and has the bigger picture of what our life is about.
So it would be very similar to a game player playing an avatar in a video game system. We see the entire board, or we see the entire level, or we see the entire world. But the avatar only sees a few feet ahead of them.
Exactly.
Kind of.
And in this case, the avatar itself is also conscious. So because it is a projection of the consciousness of the player. So that's the nature of the soul. The nature of spirit is any projection from it, any splitting of it still creates a conscious entity. And again, Bashar says, it's like we're basically in spirit having a dream that we're not in spirit. So we've created a simulation for ourselves in order to have the experience of forgetting who we are so that we can discover who we are from a new point of view. And that's how creation expands. The structure of existence, according to Bashar, never changes. It is what it is. Our relationship to it, our experience of it, and our perspective of it constantly changes. And that's how creation.
Okay. That was great stuff, and I'll stick with the one with the higher mind and the physical mind. I've spoke about it. I've done episodes on it. It's nothing wrong with the brain, the mind, the one we carry. It's quite potent. It's great to be bright. It's great to read a lot. It's great to investigate a lot. But I always felt it was not through knowing that things will open to us, exactly because it's such a limited and primitive way. We're only able to see a little bit through our mind. When we tap into our higher consciousness, when we tap into our higher self, when we tap into that universal wisdom, that's when we see the whole field. And yes, it's a great analogy to be that you're up there in a mountain, you're able to see everything from the higher mind. I think you're able to see everything, the whole universe, you're able to tap into the whole wisdom of the universe, okay? So it's great. Certainly changes. That's why for me there's no comparison. Okay, there's no comparison for someone such as Terence Howard that is using his universal wisdom to someone like Neil deGrasse Tyson that is using his mind and his brain. No matter how much he can investigate, it's no match. It's not much at all. It's really like, trying to compare a bicycle with a Ferrari or something like that. Really that great of a distance, okay? So totally agree that when you are able to go with your intuition, when you're able to tap into your higher consciousness, then suddenly you have more options and you're able to see the whole field in a way. Let's say it. As far as the creation of our reality, is this real, what I'm experiencing, what you're experiencing, or is just like a dream? Is it really that important? I think the importance is the experience. And it's like a game in a way that we forget, and the whole purpose of the game is remembering. And the whole purpose of the game is understanding who we are. That's why the message on my channel is even out there as a small image on the bottom left corner of every episode. It doesn't matter if it's a chat, if it's one of my shows. Discover who you are, okay? I know I've changed. I had a planet out there at the beginning, but I'm evolving, and for a while now, I don't know, for 50, 100 episodes, it's out there, and it's kind of the symbol of my channel. You raising your hands and discovering who you are, okay? And that's something that is so personal that you're not going to find it in the book, you're not going to find it in a video, you're not going to find it in a movie, Ashar is not going to tell you who you are. You are going to discover who you are as you tap into your higher consciousness, as you tap into your divinity, as you tap into your spirit, as you tap into your intuition. You are going to discover who you are, and it's going to be a different answer for all of us. That doesn't mean someone is better, someone is worse. The only thing is we're all in different positions as far as in the discovery process. Doesn't really mean anything. It's not, no one is better than the other, no one is behind, no one is ahead. We're all just different, and we're all in different moments. And that's why some people have no intention, really no appetite to discover who they are. They think they're a human being, and there's God, and they're gonna go to heaven or hell or whatever. And that for them is the reality, okay? Because there's no appetite at all to discover who they truly are, okay? They have accepted an answer outside of them, an answer that is a leap of faith, an answer that someone fed them that answer. They have accepted that, and for them, they are in total peace to think that's who they are. So for me, really, if when I started the channel, I said, if one person gets the itch, the curiosity, I don't know, the resonance, whatever you want to call it, to go and look for who you are, really this channel has filled its purpose, okay? I think that has happened through the email contact, through the comments, through the WhatsApp content I've had in this almost 3 years of a channel. I think that has happened, so the mission is already there. I could stop today and the mission was fulfilled. Because I'm not out there to change the world. I'm no one, and trust me when I say this, the only intention is to continue bringing you this, to entertain you, so someday you get the appetite, you get the itch to discover who you are. That for me is the best gift you can give yourself. And that for me is the whole game, okay? That for me is the whole game. Is this a reality we're creating or someone else is creating? Is this real? Is this a dream? Are we imagining this? For me, it's irrelevant. The relevance part is understanding you're a spirit having an experience. Whatever that experience is, for me, there's no relevance on it. Honestly, there's no relevance on it. The important part is understanding who we are, and then suddenly all the options open. All the options, particularly on what is referenced as death, which I disagree with the word. For me, there's no death. We never die. There's no death and then rebirth or reincarnation. No, we never die, okay? But when you suddenly have those options, then I believe if you go to this plane knowing who you are, then suddenly you can truly, truly, truly play the game in a well different way. Okay? Let's watch another video. I'm going to give you my final thoughts on this Friday episode.
So let me ask you this, because there's a concept that I'm fascinated with, and it's very difficult for our little computers in our brain to kind of figure this out, where I've heard this concept that everything is happening all at once. So that means that all of our lives, quote unquote past, quote unquote future, and present are all simultaneously happening at the exact same time. And if we do something in this life, it ripples quote unquote ripples back or ripples forward because
Yes.
it changes our perspective. Can you explain? Can Bashar or you explain this understanding for us nitwits down here to understand?
Yeah, well, I mean, there are a couple of very simple analogies that he often uses just to give a simplistic idea of how this functions. And one of them is basically our TV programs. You're watching a program on TV. You know that the time you're watching that program, there are dozens and dozens of other programs playing simultaneously. You don't see them because you're not tuned to them. But if you change the channel, then you get another program, but that doesn't mean the program you're watching a second ago isn't still playing. So there's only, let's say, one TV set in which all the programs have to play at the same time, but you only get what you're tuned to, what vibrational frequency you're tuned to at any given moment. But if you change your frequency, you get something else. And in a crude way, that's what he's saying reality is structured like. There's only one TV set and all the programs are playing. Everything is here and now. And when you shift your consciousness and the frequency of your being in a certain way, you create a shifting into different programs. And you get this concept called change and time and space. Another analogy is the idea of the film strip. You and I come from the film business. We understand that a film strip is made of several frames. Now, when you project that onto a movie screen, you only see one frame at a time. But the projectionist can hold the film strip and say, look, all the frames are here all at once. They all exist at the same time. But you in the audience only perceive one at a time because I'm shining the projector light through one frame at a time and projecting it on the movie screen. That's the simulation, because no single frame has any movement in it, no experience, no self-awareness. But when you create a sequence of frames, you create that illusion of movement and change and growth. And you have a discovery, you have a story that unfolds. Well, he's basically saying it's like that's what your consciousness is doing. Your consciousness is the projector light, and it is shifting through different frames billions of times a second to create this smooth illusion of time and space continuity that keeps moving in a certain direction. So we are the projectors, and the frames all exist at once, but based on our vibrational state, our state of consciousness, our perspective, determines which frames we're shining our light through and how we experience the unfolding of the idea we call physical.
Okay. Yes, that's also a concept that, so difficult to explain, so difficult to understand. I don't think we're supposed to understand it in a way. I think the analogy that Bashar offers is quite good of the TV, of having 100, 1,000, 1,000,000 channels broadcasting at the same time, but you're only watching one, okay? Some say we are actually living several lives, several experiences. We're fractalized. And I remember once someone told me that, in a therapy that you can get this kind of information, that I was living 8 lives, not on Earth necessarily, not on Earth, 8 lives at the same time, okay? So I see it in a little different way. When we say everything is happening at the same time, it's like an airport that has one runway and all planes are taking off and landing at the same time. And it seems kind of a mess that all of these reality are meshing one in each other. And the ripple effect, I don't agree with that. Because again, in the channels, does it really matter if you're watching one channel, what's happening on the other one? No, it's just that they're happening at the same time. These things make, like Alex Ferrari, the host, is saying, make our mind go hyperactive because it doesn't understand it. And even I'm talking about my mind, okay? It's not that I understand it, I just share it as what your intuition will tell you is happening. I had a show a little bit, 5-10 episodes ago about everything is happening at the same time as a sphere, as a ball. Imagine out there in a sphere, there are so many things going on. But it's one thing could be in the top part of the sphere, one thing could be in the bottom part, in the left, in the right, in the front, in the back. So it's similar to the channel analogy that many things are going on at the same time, but not in the same place, okay? One thing will be with the analogy of the TV to say everything's happening on one channel. Then is when we go crazy because that's how we think, that everything is a dot, not a sphere. We don't allow it the proper space. And for us to be thinking that we're living all our lives at the same time, because time is not real in a way, it's just the experience of time, which is a different thing, then it's when it gets very confusing. So allow space so it's not stressing to you, okay? Because I think a lot of people stress out that they think it's a dot. It's like one wrong way and it's a mess. 3, 4 airplanes try to land at the same time, one on top of the other, or whatever, so stuff like that. No, just imagine an airport that has 1,000 runways. And airplanes are landing and taking off at the same time without interfering on themselves. Actually, what happens when you're living several lives at the same time in a conscious way, those lives, if they're not properly firewalled, will be the word that comes to my mind. If they're not properly encapsulated, if they're not properly isolated, those 3 words, firewall, encapsulated, isolated, then those lives start meshing with one another, and then it becomes something a little bit scary. Just to make an example, a friend of mine told me once, like 4 or 5 years ago, she suddenly was feeling like she was dying. When she has these sensitivities, these capabilities to go and investigate what was going on, is because she was dying in another life on Earth. She was having multiple Earth experiences. It was not my case. On my 8 simultaneous experiences, 1 was on Earth, this one, Alex. 7 were on other systems and planes and dimensions. Okay, that kind of helps with the isolating. But on this one on Earth, you could cross someone and it's you. It's a fractalization of your soul. And you could be crossing someone that is you, basically, having another Earth experience. So on her, she woke up in the middle of the night and felt that she was dying because she was dying, truly dying, in another experience which was not properly isolated and firewalled. Does it make sense now? Which I believe is what our mind thinks when Bashar says that all the channels are playing at the same time. We're living at the same time. Oh my God. And we don't put in there the fact that these experiences are isolated from one another. So it's not really a big deal in that sense, okay? It's not that you're playing 100 games at the same time. You're playing this game, or maybe multiple ones. The only problem is that's for your soul to decide how many kind of games it wants to play. And in my case, 8 is too much. And that's why sometimes I struggle with energy, okay? That was the explanation given to me. That's why sometimes you're very tired, because 8 is too much. So we ask our soul, how about we close a few of these experiences, okay? And we concentrate a little bit more, because it's like when you're working and you're overdoing it, sometimes it gets heavy, okay? It depends on the experiences, okay? I know this is so difficult to wrap around. I don't understand myself. I try to explain it. But I totally agree with what Bashar is saying. It's the experience of time. It's the perception of time. Time is not important. It's the perception of it. And if you think of it, if you see it that you're only having this life, then time becomes important. I hope it makes sense. So I hope you enjoyed this Friday episode, my experience with Darryl and Bashar. I could not include any videos on the actual Bashar events because there's issues there with that. I don't want to get the video in trouble. I'm sure you can find them online. My suggestion, if you have the possibility, if Bashar Darryl Lanka is coming close to your place, to your town, definitely worth it. That will be my final thought on this. It's a great experience, as I shared, very entertaining, very down to earth, very easy to understand. It's not complicated. It's not so serious, so something like that. Darryl has made a nice product, a nice service. For me, a little bit on the expensive side, but it is what it is. The market is the market. And if 700 people are willing to pay $425 per seat, that's the market. And it was clearly the right price because it was sold out. And I was able to get quite possibly the last 2 seats available. All right. Hope you enjoy it. I'll come back on Monday on another spin-off show on my trip to Sedona, now with a UFO tour. And I'm going to go a little bit in depth on that one, similar to this Bashar episode. Take care. Have a great weekend. See you back on Monday. Thank you for making it to this part of the video. This is my favorite part. This is where I suggest to you that you discover your true self. You are not what you have been groomed to believe. You are this incredible being without limits that has eternal life, amazing strength, infinite wisdom, and a big, beautiful heart. All your limits are always self-imposed. Your best version in this reality is inside you. Your only mission on this life is to become a beacon of love and to serve others. This version is ready to be discovered today. How do you discover your true self? The discovery process is a personal one. No one can do it for you. Dedicate 5 minutes a day to talk to the universe. Simply ask, who am I? Where do I come from? What is my purpose? You will start getting signs, breakthroughs, and signals. You will notice how your notions about this reality start disappearing. No more hierarchies, no more competition, no more complaining, no more depending on others. Discovering your true self equals to real freedom. Your self-imposed limits will fall and you will be ready to understand this reality, but you must be patient to allow others to wake up at their time through their own free will. That will be really soon, you will see, and that will set up a new world. As you work towards your best version, you will notice how all emotions don't serve you anymore. Hate, fear, rage, pride, lust, envy, violence, justice through violence, judgment of others, and other emotions will disappear from your mind and heart. You will understand those emotions serve only your egoic mind and are not you. Please try to be understanding of others that don't think or feel like you. Everyone has a process. No one is right or wrong. We're all just different. Don't be concerned about being right, ever. Don't allow pride preventing you from patching things up with family and friends. It is very important you enjoy this life with your loved ones. Put in the work to patch things up and leave it to others to decide. Thank you very much for watching. Please share, like, and subscribe. If you have any comments or suggestions, please use the comment section below. For private questions, conversations, and if you would like to appear on the show, please email me at hey@thealexshow.tv. Thank you again. Please don't forget to visit our website www.thealexshow.tv. By giving me your time, you honor me. Have a very, very, very nice day.